Our gospel text of today has 4 parts and is taken from Mark chapter 11, verses 11 to 25. The first 3 parts are placed by Mark in what is known as a sandwich construction. And a sandwich construction which Mark abounds in is a way of writing in which Mark begins a particular episode. He does not complete it. He interrupts it by another whole episode and then continues the first episode which he began and completes it. So it is on either side of this episode which he began that he has another episode in the center that is known as a sandwich construction. In the first 3 parts, as I said, which is the sandwich construction, Jesus comes into Jerusalem looking for figs on a fig tree, doesn't find anything, and he curses the fig tree. Mark stops there. He does not tell us what happened to the fig tree, whether it withered or whether it was affected by the curse of Jesus. He doesn't tell us. He simply says that Jesus cursed the fig tree. Then he narrates the incident of where Jesus clears the temple. And then, after this incident which he completes of Jesus clearing the temple, he moves on to say that the fig tree had withered. So, cursing the fig tree is begun but interrupted. The temple is cleared and then the fig tree withers. So, on either side of the fig tree being cursed and withering, Mark places the episode of the clearing of the temple. In the 4th part, Jesus speaks about prayer and what prayer means. In the Gospel of Mark, there are no miracles from chapter 11 till chapter 16. All the miracles which Jesus works are up to chapter 10, and the last miracle before he enters Jerusalem is the healing of blind Bartimaeus in Mark chapter 10, verses 46 to 52. So, is this really a miracle because Jesus is in Jerusalem? And the answer is no. By placing the cursing of the fig tree and the withering of the fig tree on either side of the clearing of the temple, what Mark is saying is that the temple is identified with the fig tree. From far, it seems that there is worship. When I look from a distance, it seems that the temple is the place where God is praised, where God is adored, where worship is given to God. When I come close, I do not find that at all. As a matter of fact, I find not only that the temple is being used as a place of buying and selling, but I also find that the temple is being used as a place where thieves and robbers take advantage of the poor. And so, if this continues, if the temple keeps on professing sham worship and not true worship, like the fig tree, its fate will also be to be destroyed. So this seeming miracle, and Mark says very clearly in the narrative that it is not a miracle because he shows Jesus as quite unreasonable when Mark himself tells us it was not the season for figs. If it was not the season for figs, then how could Jesus expect figs on a fig tree? What Mark is saying is that while a fig tree can speak about being in season and out of season, the temple surely cannot. There is no in season and out of season for the temple. The temple must always be that place where worship is given to God. The temple cannot be a place where trade and commerce is practiced. The temple can never be a place where the poor are taken advantage of. And this is the reason for Mark's sandwich construction, where he compares the fate of the fig tree because it did not produce fruits and only seemed to have fruits, with the temple which does not have worship and only seems to have worship. After this incident, the fourth episode is when Jesus teaches his disciples on prayer. And in a line, he tells his disciples that when they pray, they must have faith. And he defines faith as believing before one can receive what one is praying for, and it will be yours. In other words, he calls for a faith which believes before it can see. He calls for a faith which believes even when it does not see. If the Lord were to come to the temple of my life, would he find true worship? When I pray, do I pray with faith?